2 weeks ago, the CEO of NVIDIA sat down with Lex Fridman, the man who built the hardware that powers every AI system on the planet, and he said something that should have stopped the world in its tracks.
Is this 5, 10, 15, 20 years away?
I think it's now. I think we've achieved AGI.
Now, you can argue about what the definition of AGI is, but what he's really saying is that human intelligence, the thing that used to separate winners from everyone else, has just become free, available to anyone on demand. And as a 22-year-old who's been able to build a 7-figure tech company along with multiple other businesses without going to college or knowing how to code, I realized that this changes everything, probably more than what most people realize. Now, revolutions have always happened. For most of human history, if you were big or strong, you had an edge. You could do work that others couldn't. You could earn more, contribute more. Your body was your competitive advantage. Then the industrial machines arrived. One machine could do the work of 100 men. And that edge, the one that some people had built their entire livelihood and identity around, evaporated. A group of workers were so threatened by it that they literally smashed machines to try and stop it from happening. And the people who ignored that and just used the machines instead, they built empires. Two groups, the same revolution, but completely different outcomes. And it happened again. If you were sharp with numbers, you had something other people needed. Accountants and bookkeepers were paid specifically because they could do what most people couldn't. Then the calculator came along, and overnight, that edge went from a career to literally a party trick. The people who had adapted, the people who picked up that calculator and pushed further with it, they went further and faster than anyone doing it by hand ever could. Same split, but two types of people. The problem was that the capability being replaced wasn't just the skill they had, it was actually their self-worth that they lived in. The strong man's identity was built around being strong, and the mathematician's identity was built around being the sharpest mind in the room. So when that thing became free, when anybody could access it, they couldn't see clearly anymore. They defended it. The people who moved fast were the ones who looked at the situation without any of that baggage. They saw it for what it was and they moved. That is the only difference. It's not talent, it's not intelligence, it's not opportunity. It was whether your identity was tied to that thing that just got replaced. Now, here's the part that nobody is really talking about. What allowed the strongman to turn raw physical power into something economically viable? What allowed the mathematician to take numbers and build an entire industry from them? In every case, intelligence was always the ingredient. It was the thing that took raw human capability and pointed it at a problem and created value from it. Every revolution in human history was powered by human intelligence underneath. And that engine is what's being replaced right now. This isn't just the next revolution. This is every revolution simultaneously available to everyone. Because the thing that let humans drive every previous revolution, the underlying capability, the engine, is now free. Think about what that actually means. The knowledge barrier, gone. The experience barrier, gone. The skill barrier, gone. Every wall that intelligence used to build between what you could achieve and what you couldn't, gone. What's the only thing left for humans to do, to add? How big are you willing to think? How urgently are you willing to move, whether you'll actually pick up the tool and use it? Ambition, urgency, the willingness to dream at a scale that used to require a different kind of person. And here's the part that should make the smartest people in the room uncomfortable. The people most at risk in this revolution are not the ones who aren't smart enough. They're the ones who spent 20 years building an identity around their intelligence. The people who went to the best universities, who've built their entire sense of themselves around being the sharpest person at the table. Because those are the people who will find every reason to explain why AI is overhyped, who point out what it can't do, who convince themselves that their intelligence still matters more or that it's unsafe, right up until the moment when they look up and realize the person next to them with none of their qualifications has built something 10 times the size but half their age. They won't see it coming because their identity won't let them look. So why won't most people just do this? Because intelligence wasn't just a filter the world put on you. It was a filter that you put on yourself. Your whole life, your brain has been operating in a world where how big you could dream was connected to how smart you were. Where ambition, without the intelligence to actually execute it, was just delusion. Where the ceiling on what was possible for you was whether you knew it or not, partly set by your own mind. That's the belief wired in. It's not conscious. You don't even notice it's there. And it quietly limits the size of what you allow yourself to go after. Not because you can't do it, because somewhere underneath it all, you're still operating like the old rules still apply. And that's the invisible chain. It's not the world telling you that you can't. It's you still acting like intelligence is the thing that determines what's available to you. The only chain left is the one that you haven't noticed you're wearing and holding onto. The intelligence filter is gone. What you can build now is limited by only how big you're willing to think and whether you're actually willing to move. I am a 22-year-old who has been able to generate over 7 figures online because I can think big and set AI in my corner. AGI is here. The most powerful person in AI confirmed it last month. The question isn't whether this is real or not. The question is, which group of mankind are you in? The adopters or the replaced?